So the consultation stages, this is like a brief overview of the consultation stages. So there's opening stage, reading phase, agenda negotiation, mediating moves, and closing stage. All right, so I think the most important thing that I need to quickly go through now is the point number 4. So these mediating moves. So these are basically the different ways to structure our conversation during the consultation. Okay, so there's dialogue, sounding board, direct instruction, and descriptive feedback. So before doing this, this may sound a little bit mechanical, but we want to do it as like instinctually as we can, right? So the purpose is that when writers step into the writing center, the writing as an action is a social action itself, because it's we have another additional perspective. We're not writing in isolation anymore, right? So it's a social action right now. So we want to do it. We want to structure the conversation according to the writer's needs, the writer's emotion, or just like I mentioned, the genre of the work the writer's working on. So first of all, we want to think about it. So how do I want them to feel? Like, how do I as a tutor want them to feel and do, right? So so we have very little time now. So we want them to feel like smart, and we want them to keep writing. We want them to feel empowered, as opposed to small, dumb, and incapable, right? So again, we're not teachers, we're not professors, we're experienced writers, we're at the same time their peers, right? So the first model, the first structure is the most frequent structure that we adopt, which is dialogue to resolving dilemmas and challenges, right? So dialogue we adopt these different mediating moves. The essential purpose is to rearrange the power relation, because again, the social action, teaching, helping, it's all about how to distribute the power relation between us, the tutors, and the students. And the first one is dialogue. In dialogue, the power relation is equal. So dialogue, we talk to each other, we throw questions at the writers, and that kind of new knowledge and new ideas happens between people of equal relationship. There's no definite answer. We just talk it out. So this is the most frequent model that we use, and also most beautiful, magical too, because like I say, the talk we have in writing center is exploratory talk. So we don't have plans. And then sometimes you can never expect that an answer, inspiration will come out of the dialogue. And the second one is sounding board. It's kind of like a way to generate additional materials. So basically, it's for those writers that you see is very clear about what they're talking about. It's probably just their way of organizing their writing is not that well. They have all the things all over the table. So in this kind of conversation structure, the writer has more power, and then the tutor has less power. So in this kind of structure, you ask key questions, critical questions. You are like sounding board. So you don't speak very often. You throw questions and keywords at the writer, and let the writer just talk it out and then speak whatever she got there. So probably she will get a new idea or elaborate on the writing that she already has on the paper. So this is more like a process of ideation, right? That she can keep developing the ideas based on the current result that she has on the paper. So in this kind of structure, the main task of the tutor is to throw question keywords and then take notes for the writer, and then after she's done, you can give the part that you think is particularly meaningful, the notes that you think is particularly meaningful, give it back to give it back to the give back to the writer. And direct instruction, I believe it's very familiar, right? It's we are kind of like professors. So power relation, of course, the tutors have more power and the writers don't. But this is at the same time the most difficult and easiest for me, in the light that direct instruction, I obviously have more knowledge about the subject than the writer does, but I don't have the anxiety of being, I have less anxiety of being wrong. But then this kind of model, you have to be very careful, because it easily becomes a one-sided labor. It's kind of like the writer just have to sit there and then listen to you lecture, like you guys are listening to me now, right? So in a direct instruction, you need to think of a way to kind of check in with the writer every now and then, questions to make sure that the connection between you and the writer is still there, because it's a collaboration. We have to do our best to maintain it as a collaboration. And then finally is this descriptive feedback. So descriptive feedback is just a thoughtful reader. So you don't assume yourself more kind of like very knowledgeable person. You just present yourself as a thoughtful reader. So you read and listen and engage in the text, enjoy the text, and then buy into the game of the text, and then give very authentic, honest feedback, rather than give like evaluative judgment. So in this descriptive feedback, we are not evaluating. We give honest, authentic feedback to the writer. We phrase our criticisms in acceptable feedback. These are like the writing resources that I think really helpful.